We call the kidney Little Johnny.
And little Johnny is thriving. It was only 4 months ago when Linda Thompson was on a waiting list for a kidney transplant, one of about 100,000, according to organdonor.gov.
With no end in sight until we went to brunch that morning.
That's where Thompson met John and Wendy Wickham, the group sharing a table in a crowded restaurant. A chance encounter between strangers, two with the same rare blood type. By the end of the meal, John Wickham was ready to apply to be a donor.
I submitted at 6 a.m. and at 6:05 they were on the phone.
On July 26th, one of Wickham's kidneys was removed and placed in Thompson, her body accepting it. Prior to the procedure, Thompson was undergoing dialysis for 4 hours a day, 3 days a week.
So this is all the scars from all the needles, and you can actually see it pumping.
Yeah.
That's the access point to the machine she no longer needs. A holiday weekend hangout under the I-10 bridge quickly turned to terror when 3 teenage girls drove right into the Pascagoula River.
They drove straight under the water. Only a little bit of the car was still above the water.
16-year-old Corian Evans from Pascagoula tossed his shoes, shirt, phone, and jumped in.
I was just like, I can't let none of these folks die, so I just started getting them.
Evans, a Pascagoula High student, says he's been swimming since he was about 3. He was at the right place at the right time with the right skills.
I'm glad nothing happened to him while he was trying to save other people's lives. I was really proud of Corian.
Marquita Evans now praising her son for helping rescue the 3 girls, along with Moss Point police officer Gary Mercer.
I turn around, I see the police officer going underwater drowning, saying help. So I went over there. I'm like swimming him back until I felt myself I could walk.
Chief Brandon Ashley releasing this statement to WLOX, saying in part, quote, "We commend Evans's bravery. If he had not assisted, it could have turned tragic."
They was out there throwing up because a lot of water had got inside all of them. Anything could have been in that water though, but I wouldn't think about it.
She was in the back seat as the vehicle sank about 20 feet out, the 3 escaping from the passenger window.
Everything was just pitch black. The GPS thought we was on top of the interstate.
Weighing in at about half a pound of cast iron, this object fell from the sky Monday night, striking a Gaucher woman. With a new shrimp season starting Monday, fishermen are setting sail with hope. Holloman points to challenges like fishermen unable to locate the seafood and then get it to the processors, which most, he says, are still stocked with last year's catch and unable to sell it.
Fuel prices went up, the shrimp went down.
While shrimp may be fleeting, experts say they haven't had an oyster season in over 5 years. For Darlene Kemble, her tool to unload them has been immobile and rusting as she fights to keep Kemble's Seafood afloat after nearly a century in business.
We used to have a bunch of employees, my grandfather, my grandmother. I run it by myself, and I don't know if I'm gonna let my little girl take this over. It is kind of dying.
It's a similar story for Jeremy Fort with Jerry Fort Seafood, his dad's business since the early 1970s.
My goal was to always to try to kind of carry it on, but being that things have changed so much, I'm having to get other little side jobs.
Fort says his biggest struggle is competing with imports, local businesses shipping their product in at cheaper prices.
We're facing more and more hardship than ever before.
We'll make it somehow, some way, I guess.
Mardi Gras being their busiest time of year, about 5 separate suppliers are arriving daily with loads of crawfish. Bands marching, beads flying, and royalty floating.
Hello.
The GCCA parade is back. Not every Mardi Gras throw was a keepsake. Drivers now dodging with the parade left behind.
My first thoughts was they had a good time.
As Jeep after Jeep sank into the sand, the brand enthusiasts banding together.
Everybody just gets together, sits on the beach, tries to help other people.
It's not Jeep in the coast unless you have one leg that's burnt.
He's been racing for 16 years and is a 6-time winner of the Baja 1000. But this week, you can be in his passenger seat. Fur grew up in Gulfport and returned after about 50 years away. Her father, Richard Hart, was police chief during the civil rights era, recruiting the department's first ever black officers.
They didn't know what reaction the coast was going to have, but it was essential.
Greenwise Cannabis opened as Gulfport's first medical marijuana dispensary, now crossing the aisle and providing its space for education. He believes branching out now to the cannabis plant is right up his alley. Mayor Mike Smith is a cancer survivor, and he says if dispensaries are to open up in Hancock County, he wants the city of Waveland to be the first. Traffic in Moss Point is backed Wednesday, with Jackson County residents lining the streets for free meals.
When we run out, but we feed a lot of families, and they are happy.
Community members in need now enjoying both a gathering spot and mealtime. Sounds of power tools filling the Daisy Vestry Park this week, and volunteers from all over the nation. Inside these boxes are book bags and school supplies going to kindergartners across the coast. Health science students are spreading love throughout Summerfield Senior Living, and they come bearing gifts.